time a million lives. The nightmare this event was, from start to finish.
This was real. This was a real fantasy ball that I just attended.
No, you guys, no.
The lies, the lack of transparency, the overpriced tickets for attendees.
I am wanting to issue a formal apology. If you would like a refund, please contact me and I will issue a refund immediately.
What? That's fraud. Like, you're a liar. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, hi, hello, welcome. I am Sherrilyn and I am so glad you found me. If you're not new here, welcome back. Thank you for joining me every single upload. You already know I love and appreciate you. You, yes, you, looking around wondering, yeah, you, so much. All right, I'm actually so excited to talk about it. It's still frustrating and sad, and obviously, like, people, like, got scammed. That's terrible. But I feel like, lately it's been a little bit heavy. So we just kind of have to just decompress a little bit, okay? We're going to get right into it because I'm already late to the game on this one. I was traveling when all of this went down, but I still want to talk about it. So we're going to get right into it. Before we do, have a quick riddle for you. Today's riddle is, I don't need a wand or a magical spell, but with my quill, I weave tales to tell. I summon dragons and lovers so true. I write the skies and paint them blue. I dance with words, I dream with ink. What am I? Who makes you think? Killing it. I think I have food on my teeth. Do I? Oh my God. Okay. Why am I delusional still? While you think about that, I have one more quick message for you. I want to give a huge thank you to our sponsor today, Fume. You guys already know if you've been here for a long time. Fume is one of our longest, most loyal sponsors. And I just appreciate them not only for that, but also for their mission. I'm a big fan of Fume. If you've never heard of them before, it is an award-winning flavored air device. This is not a vape. It is not an e-cig. There's no vapor, no nicotine, no batteries, no charging. It's literally just natural flavor that goes into your mouth and not your lungs. One of my favorite parts of this too is it also moonlights as the best emotional support clicky fidget friend. You can twist it, click it. It satisfies that hand to mouth without using chemicals, without the mess, and honestly, without the guilt. If you have ever tried stopping something cold turkey before, you know that it's very hard on not just you physically, but also mentally. And Fume works to replace that hand to mouth fixation, calming your nervous tension through fidgeting and distracting you from your bad habit with also having delicious flavor. So it's not just the hand to mouth or the fidget aspect, but they also have flavor cores, and that just kind of gives that little bit of satisfaction while still feeling like you're, doing the thing. My favorite flavor, cinnamon hearts. I actually, as I'm saying that right now, I need to order some more. So good. I think that and crispy mint. No, cinnamon hearts, hand down. But I like them for different things. Okay, so keep that in mind. And I'm not a mint flavor person. If you've never tried the mint flavor, I totally recommend trying the crisp mint. Something about that when you're kind of needing that instant, the satisfaction of having some flavor in your mouth. I feel like the crisp mint really does wake things up. And then for the cinnamon flavor, I feel like that's more of the yumminess. I don't know. I'm not making sense. If you've tried, you'll know what I mean. Oh my God, this is going to be the last time they ever sponsor, isn't it? Anyways, another thing that I love about Fume, please don't leave me, is they are all about doing things the right way. They continuously invest in third-party studies to make sure that their products are not only satisfying, but also safe. They have multiple toxicology reports and independent research that has confirmed the safety of the plant compounds that are used in those cores that I was talking about, the cinnamon and the crisp mint, among others, both for inhalation and digestion. Fume is also backed by doctors in the USA, so it's not just trendy, it's trusted. So if you or someone you know is trying to let go of certain habits, or if you just like having something to do with your hands and keeping busy, Fume is kind of perfect. It fills that little void with something simple, natural, and very satisfying. Right now, you can check them out by going over to tryfume.com/SherrilynDale or scan the QR code and use my code SherrilynDale to get a free Fume topper when you order your journey pack today. And that's this little rubber guy on top. I like this little guy, kind of like to nibble on. If you want, you can also take it off, and then it's got the nice smooth carbon topper. But I love this little rubber guy now. Once again, that is tryfume.com, booktok.com/SherrilynDale or scan the QR code and use my code SherrilynDale to get a free fume topper when you order your journey pack today. You are welcome in advance, and thank you so much, Fume, for sponsoring today's video. Okay, like I said, I'm a bit late to this. I was in London when all of this was going down, or just like starting to travel when it like came out. Because I think like I saw some article while I was like flying or getting ready to fly. And then I was like, oh, I still want to talk about it. And then when Susie wanted to talk about it, I was like, yes, girl. Yes, I want to get into this. Okay, so if you don't know, well, you do from the thumbnail. Okay, we were talking about the Million Lives book event, okay? So the scam event. There were dozens of authors and like book lovers who poured into the Baltimore Convention Center the weekend of May 2nd, 3rd. 2025 if you're watching in the future, and they expected to go to this convention, meet like some of their favorite authors and other book fans alike, and the theme was like a romance fantasy theme. Okay, so like people were in gowns and it was going to be a fantasy ball. The event went viral, not for all the good reasons. No, it was compared to Fyre Fest at one point, the Willy Wonka chocolate experience, one of my favorite episodes of Jesse and Lily's on the Do We Know Them is that episode. But then also when they dressed up like them in one of their Halloween segments, and then they were talking about the rug lady from TikTok. Oh my God. And Jesse's like the Oompa Loompa. I can't. Anyways, and then also the Bridgerton inspired ball in Detroit that did not go as planned as well, but everybody ate with the costumes. We talked about that one. Yeah, so this is, it's become one of those. Okay, so today, a lot of what we're going to hear from is the people directly there. I love this. I've got the laptop out. Okay, so we're going to start with, this was, I know for sure, the first person that like came to Susie's attention when she was like, I also want to talk about this. But I did see in articles as well, her name mentioned as well. She was one of the first to go kind of like viral, sharing her side of her experience being here. She was an author that was at this festival. Okay. I just love hearing from the people, directly on the ground. So this is Percy J.
Oh yes, everyone. This was real. This was a real fantasy ball that I just attended not even 12 hours ago. Hi, I'm Percy J, and I attended a Million Lives book festival in Baltimore. It was even worse than what you're seeing. It is 6 a.m. I have no voice. My body hurts, but I'm not getting sleep. So I might as well tell y'all exactly what happened. And this is going to be a video done in multiple parts because there's no way I could even fit this all into 10 minutes. But yes, I am still in bed. We'll talk about where I am in a second. And I'm in my pajamas because it's literally less embarrassing to be seen as a Dallas Cowboys fan than it was to be an author at this event. Before I get into the tea, I need to set some ground rules. Everything I am talking about is something that I have seen with my own eyeballs or heard with my own ears. Even if I did experience it and it's not my story to tell, I have permission from others to tell the story. And if I do put tea in here that I did not personally experience but only knew through other people, I will let you know that all of those facts are alleged, but are important to the context of the overall story. So before we talk about the viral disaster that was that ball, I have to channel my inner AP US history teacher and go to the events leading up to section. Because this story starts 18 months ago. Ooh. Because that's when we all put our deposits down. So I put down my $150 table fee back in February of 2024. I am not from Baltimore, Maryland.
First of all, that's a red flag to me if you're being invited to something like this. I'm just going back to like CrimeCon or something like that. Yeah, you would pay for your flights and accommodation to get there. Some people don't, especially if they're invited there to like speak specifically. But to pay for your table, to me personally, that's wild. Especially if you're kind of like attracting your fans and audience. That's kind of like you putting people already through the door. So, I mean, I don't know where this is going to go. To me, that's a red flag already.
I'm from Texas, which, yes, besties, I flew out for this. But I got in because a lot of my friends were going too. And I knew a lot of people attending because the creator reached out to a lot of people who were already pretty prominent in the indieverse sphere. And honestly, I was like, the table fee is $150, why not? I'd paid more to be at events. And because so many people were going that I wanted to see and hang out with, I planned a lot of major life events around A Million Lives. I'm currently pregnant with twins. I planned my pregnancy around this event like a clown. I scheduled my uncle-in-law's funeral around this event. I even paid extra to sponsor this event. And let's get into that, shall we? Because you know I brought the receipts, girl. Peep the date. After Christmas of 2024, I reached out to Archer Fantasy Events to sponsor A Million Lives. I ended up picking the highest tier of sponsorship because I was like, $250, why not? It's a good deal. So I was supposed to get my logo on the website, an author takeover day in the Facebook group, an author focus day with several posts about me and my books on social media, a medium window or floor decal, where those were supposed to go, I don't know, and my logo on the tote bag. Now, I have been to other events before where I've seen events do all of these things for other people. So I sent them all of my things, my headshots, my covers, my logo, all that stuff. And on January 20th, they received my $250. So if anyone wants to come out and say that I never actually paid for anything, and if you're confused, Book Lover was a free sponsorship tier. By free, that just means if you bring swag, like stickers, bookmarks, art, whatever. People have done wax melts in the past, candles. Those get put in the swag bags for the VIP attendees. But we'll get to the swag bags in a minute. Put a pin in that. Hold on to that for a minute. I'm trying to explain this in chronological order. But after that email exchange, it's pretty much crickets. I did not, in fact, get my author takeover day in the Facebook group. There was not a single post about me or my books on Archer Management socials. And we also never got confirmation for how many items we needed to bring for the VIP swag bags. I know what you're thinking, Percy, why didn't you say something earlier whenever you knew that this wasn't going to be done? Because at the end of January, I got pregnant with my twins. And I stopped being active on social media for a while just because of the fatigue and the sickness. And frankly, I came into this event thinking, you know what, it's $250, whatever. It's not worth my peace. But little did I know that peace was never an option. About 2 weeks before the event, I actually went on the event's website to see what I was actually, getting into. And I started counting the number of authors, vendors, and narrators that were actually coming to the event. It was slated at somewhere around 120. Those kind of numbers are huge. But I had not seen any advertising on behalf of the management company for this event. And I looked up a lot of these authors, and a lot of them were brand new on the scene, fresh new indie authors. And the math was not mathing in my brain, because you cannot have 100+ authors, vendors, narrators and not advertise. And then I saw only posts on Archer Fantasy Events socials were offering the tickets at 40% off. That's when I knew that ain't nobody was coming. That's when I knew. I luckily did not ship any books to Baltimore. I just took what I could fit in my suitcase. But we'll get to that later. So I was going to stay with my friend and fellow author Callista Neath. We were going to be staying at the Hilton that is connected to the Baltimore Convention Center. Does it look like I am in the Hilton to you? Neath was a featured authors got their rooms paid for free by Archer Fantasy Events. Allegedly. And on the Wednesday, before we all flew out, the featured authors got an email saying, hey, my rep at the Hilton has not been answering my phone calls or emails over the past week. Why wasn't this situated over a month ago? And said that she couldn't confirm bookings. And so she was instead moving all the featured authors to the Days Inn across the street. Y'all look at this. There are freaking scratch marks on this bed, bro. And we are authors with these heavy suitcases and boxes. This place did not have a wheelchair ramp. My pregnant ass had to be carrying these 50+ pound suitcases upstairs. And so my expectations are getting lower and lower and lower. The bar was on the floor, but it went to hell real fast. More coming in part 2, because I told y'all this would be long.
Oh my God, I can't wait. Hurry up. Where's part 2?
Welcome to part 2 of my experience at the BookTok Fyre Festival, A Million Lies, DashCon 2.0, whatever you guys want to call this event. And I'm sorry, I'm heading back from the airport, so the lighting is terrible and the sound quality is probably garbage. But y'all have waited long enough for the tea.
It is, Percy.
So I'm giving you the tea. So we left off at the lead up, and now let's talk about the actual event. So before we get into the events of the day, let's talk about who got access to what. So I know people are aware that to get into the ball, you had to pay $250, but there were more tiers to tickets that got you into certain events. So the base ticket was the page turner. It was $50 or $55 if you had to pay additional fees. And this got you access to the vendor hall on Saturday, May 3rd, cosplay meetups, and the content creation room. Remember the content creation room? We'll go back to that later.
Do you remember the content creation room? Because I've seen a clip. I'm actually really curious, like, what the inspo was and like what it was being advertised of what that was going to be, because I already know the plot twist or the spoiler alert of what it looked like. So yeah, put a pin in that. Again, like this, I would have totally wanted to go to something like this, like the fantasy ball aspect of it, and then also like a cosplay night and stuff like that. Like, what?
I know what you're thinking. You mean people paid $50 to walk around a convention hall, meet up with cosplayers, and get access to this mysterious content creation room? Yes, they did. But for $150, you got more! So this is one of the VIP tickets. You got access to the convention hall where we all were selling our books and stuff on May 2nd and 3rd. You got the cosplay meetups, which I have no idea what happened with this. I do not know if this was a flop or if this was cool. I don't know. You got access to the panels, and we'll get to the panels in a minute. You got an event swag bag. Remember how in the last video I told you to put a pin in that? We were going to talk about the swag bags. These are going to come into play again. And you get the content creation room. What could be in this mystical room, I wonder? But stay tuned, hold on. Then, for the infamous $250 price tag, you got the Dream Maker ticket. This got vendor hall for both days, cosplay meetups, panels, event swag bag, content creation room, and access to the ball. So, if you were just a normal VIP, you had to pay $100 extra to get into the magical fantasy cafeteria that was the Lavender Romance Ball. But now with that basic knowledge, let's get to the event.
Okay.
So registration started at 8, and the authors and vendors all went to the event to start setting up as early as 7 a.m. Only problem is we weren't given directions on how to get into the convention. For those of you who don't know, usually whenever you fly into bookish events, we move our stuff with suitcases. So we're bopping around the streets of Baltimore at 7 a.m. with these suitcases full of like 70-pound books. Nary an instruction in sight. There's no signs, no stream.
This is actually so well like narrated because she's an author. I'm like, I just love your storytelling. I'm like, oh yeah, you're an author. What did she say? Nary in sight? I gotta use that.
Or balloons saying, hey, book festival this away. Don't know where the event organizer is. But security came in clutch and helped us navigate the convention center. And that will be a reoccurring theme. The security at the convention center was 10 out of 10. They deserve all the praise. I'm getting ahead of myself. So this was the original author, vendor, narrator setup. I was number 2 over here. All my friends and other authors and vendors that I knew were also on the same row with me. So I was so jazzed to be with my friends. Put a pin in that. We'll get back to that later. Yeah, but when we got into the convention center, this was not the setup. Some of you who may have been to conventions before see this setup and go, hold up, I don't know if that's going to fly with Fyre code. And guess what? This wasn't going to fly with Fyre code. So this was all completely different. Instead of having 2 big rows and then a bunch of like other rows like this, it was all just up and down horizontal, which completely messed up everybody's table setup. No one knew where they were going. It was absolute chaos. Also, we got an email from the event coordinator a few days before the event saying, let's clear up some rumors, which that's a heck of a way to start an email, I'll tell you what. But she said, I don't know why people are saying we won't have tables. We'll have tables, and we'll have tablecloths. I'm like, that's kind of a given. I really wonder why this is an issue. But the tables were indeed there. The tablecloths, however, were not. And of course, if you're setting up a table, you have to put the tablecloth on first. So a lot of people were just standing around on their tables waiting for these magical tablecloths to appear. Luckily, because authors and vendors and narrators are the best people in the world, we were just helping each other out. A lot of people had extra tablecloths we were letting each other borrow. I brought my own. There were a few tablecloths the event provided, but they were already packaged and there weren't very many of them. So that was tough getting set up. So the vendor hall opened at 10 a.m. and the attendees started rolling in. But keep in mind, this is Friday, so this is a VIP only event. So only the people who paid for either the Cloud Walker or the Dream Walkers could come to this event. Y'all, there were maybe 30 people. And this was an all-day situation. I don't even know if this panel happened. We had our lunch break at noon, and to announce the lunch break, the event organizer walked into the event hall and just screamed that we're taking a lunch break. No bullhorn, no PA system, just everybody get out. But also, here's the tea. The event hall wasn't locked for lunch break. People didn't want to abandon their tables if people were still there. Also, we didn't have badges. The badges broke. The VIP ticket holders didn't have swag bags. The swag bags were thrown away by the convention center. When you registered with a wristband. For both authors and attendees, they had the same wristbands. Some of them, not everybody had a wristband. I didn't. And the people who donated items, swag bags, yeah, they were just told those were thrown away. And so that's why no one had anything. And so I know what you're thinking. There must have been a replacement for all of this. There must have been something. No. I was like, what is going on upstairs on the ground floor of the convention hall? You know what the grand entrance was for this magical book festival? This is it. The convention hall provided that sign. Those ketchup and mustard looking things on the table, those are the wristbands. Note there is nary a streamer or a helium balloon or a banner. Anything to say, hey, this is the event you paid $150 for. Come on down.
What?
Even though I know these videos have gotten a lot of attention and everyone knows who everyone is at this point, I still blurred out faces to protect identity just because I don't play the game. But this was the event coordinator at registration. This was Friday morning. So we get back from lunch and start selling books. And I attended the Writing Diversity BIPOC panel because one of my really good friends was a panelist and I wanted to watch and learn. It did not take place at 1. I couldn't remember if it was like 1:30 or 2 or what, but it was not at this time. But tell me why you put the BIPOC panel on the day where it was VIP only so fewer people would come to it. Do you not know about the Cruel Prince cosplay meetup? I did see some people in some awesome cosplays, but I have no idea what happened there. And then the Bookish Song Collective performance? No idea about that. I have no idea if that ever happened or what. And I know what you're thinking. Percy, you were leaning really hard in that content creation room earlier. What's the deal with that? So the content creation room was open on Friday. I don't have a picture of it, but I'm going to need you to trust me. You know that infamous picture from DashCon with the ball pit in the empty room? Picture that exactly without the ball pit. I know you're thinking, Percy, do you mean to tell me that this content creation room that was billed as an amenity was just an empty conference room for people just to walk into and stand in? Yes. Yes, I am.
I will insert a photo. We have other people to listen to, so they might have it, but in case not, yeah, it's just a room. I don't know what they were thinking, or specifically Archer Management, aka Grace and her husband, I believe. We'll get into them in a little bit.
So by the end of Friday, we're like, okay, we are all feeling gut punched because only 40 people showed up. We're trying to figure out how we can either cover our table fees or, God forbid, figure out a way to ship all of our extra books home. Because normally you ship books to the event, you don't pack stuff in your suitcase. Like, not only are we taking a loss on sales not sold, we're gonna have to take a loss on shipping books back. But we all calm down and be like, yo, look, this was just VIP day. We were told there's gonna be 500 tickets sold. Maybe the rest of them are the $50 general admission tickets. And so we're just gonna see this huge crowd on Saturday. And then everything's gonna be okay. But spoiler alert, friends, it got even worse.
No.
Tune in for part 3.
How? How did it get worse, Percy? How did it get worse? I'm just trying to like imagine myself because I've been to 2 crime cons now. 3? No, 2. Once in London and then on a bigger scale in Nashville. And I'm so glad that it went okay. I even can't imagine for like the attendees. Like that's who I'm thinking about. Showing up to something and just being like, oh, you guys are just in an empty room here. Awesome. And like to not have like some of those supplies from the like convention center themselves. Cause like, see, our setup was actually kind of similar to that in Nashville where you had like certain rows on the side and then tables along and then you were kind of like covered by a divider. And then there was like even like tables behind. So like you could do those 6 and then you had like a divider and then they were on like the other side of the I don't know if that's making sense. And I think it was 3 also because it was me, Rachel Shannon, and then who else was it? It was another podcast. And then there was a break. So the setup was actually quite similar. But like we did have like the curtains that were separating and then the cloths on the table, which thank goodness because my banner didn't arrive. I brought it to the airport with me, went to Oversized, never came. Never came. It did a whole circle though, went to Nashville, came back, arrived at my house a week later. So thank God I had one of those because that would have just been like a mess. But I guess in this situation, they wouldn't. Oh no, a lot of them I saw have the pop-up stands. I did have the pop-up stands too. So that kind of saved me a little bit as well. And then also my best friend who ended up going out and like printing a poster with my logo. She like went to, what would have been, she's in the comments, Loblaws or something like that. Probably yelling at me right now. And Kelsey saved the day by printing something else so that I just had like something to mark who I was and where I was. Anyways, it would have been horrendous if I was in a blank room. But let's go, because apparently it gets worse.
Welcome back to the latest installment of the Willy Wonka experience, but with books. This is part 3 of what.
Sorry, one more. Sorry, guys, I don't mean to interrupt. One more thing I want to say. Like, this is so ballsy to do, because I understand that like an event can be, I can't even imagine how hard it would be and how much organizing needs to go in and pre-prep. Like it would take forever to be able to like organize everyone and like have it go off like and be a success. Again, I'm thankful to have been a part of events that were a success, not just for myself, but for the people who are like paying money to go and like meet people and creators and like watch panels and hear people talk. But like one group you don't fuck with is BookTok. Like you don't fuck with BookTok at all. If I was not confident that this was going to blow like the author's expectation, not only the authors, but like BookTok fans' expectations out of the water, I'd been like, I don't know. I'm dead. I'm dead. It's not going to happen. Thank you for your interest, but I'm deceased. So the event's canceled. Like I wouldn't even let people get there at all. But anyways, let's carry on.
What happened at A Million Lives Festival in Baltimore. So I'm at home, I'm in bed because I've used up all my mobility tokens for the next 3 days, and so I need to rest. But I've started with a headboard, might as well end with a headboard, you know, keep it on theme. So in part 1, we had the lead up to the event. Part 2, we had Friday, the VIP day. And so this is part 3, Saturday, May 3rd, general admission day, where 500 people, or 600 depending on when you heard it, were supposed to attend. But in the fairness of TikTok journalism, I have to share everything about my experience, both the bad and the good. So on Saturday morning, we get to the convention center and the event has doubled their decorations because this sign appeared at the front. We finally have a sign with an arrow giving direction to the registration table.
Okay, no, sorry. I'm really upset because even like the planners didn't put anything to like this is from the Baltimore Convention Center, the ones who printed this out. And yes, I get that that's like also normal, like they'll do that with their own signage to direct people, but usually like whoever's like putting something on, you've got your own signage and directions, decorations. You can even put a balloon somewhere,
and it matches the original sign over here. So that was a good omen for the day. We took that as improvement. Unfortunately, though, the content creation room was unavailable. My friends and I were so excited to go create content in this designated area for posterity's sake, but we were told the content creation room was closed due to technical difficulties. So whatever that means aside, if you paid $55 to be here on Saturday, the content creation room that you were promised is no longer a thing. So you paid $55 to walk around the convention hall. And I guess technically to do cosplay meetups. So one of the amenities was just meeting with other people in a public place. But at this point, we're not even sure if people were actually getting registered. There was no way to tell who was an attendee, who was an author or vendor, or who was just a random person from the convention center who just happened to go to the basement. And so yes, that wasn't fair to the people who paid a large sum of money just to get access to the space. But as an author, I was just happy that there were people. And just like the signs, it was an omen, like I said. Just as the decorations doubled, so did the attendance. We went from 40 to 80. And like I said, there was no way to actually count because we couldn't tell who was an attendee and who wasn't. But there were other issues from day 1 that bled into day 2. For example, there were mixed messages about this being a family-friendly event or this being an event where the romance authors could like offer their, wares. Some people were told they could bring their kids and did. And I'm talking babies, toddlers, middle schoolers. And some authors were told that it's perfectly fine to display their not safe for work spicy art prints. So you got some art with, frankenbeans and tater tots out. Some vendors had lovely crocheted male appendages that were for sale.
No, those are so cute. And actually, I forgot, we need to check out that page more. Adorbs. I don't know how we're going to be able to showcase it on YouTube. I mean, it's crocheted. We should be fine. I don't know. Maybe a light blur so we can get away with it. They're adorable. Adorable. Okay, but I get it.
And I definitely am not holding one just slightly off camera right now. Well, let's bring it back to the panels, because we talked about that in part 2. I was supposed to be on a panel, I guess. I don't know when it started. No one knew when the panel started. I was never procured from my table and said, hey, go talk at your panel. So I just didn't go. But then we get to the narrator panel, where you have these lovely, talented professional narrators giving their expertise and knowledge to an audience. But when they got to their panel, there were no chairs. And remember, I said that I'm only going to report on what I saw with my own eyeballs, because I'm at my table hustling my books, and my buddy Jen walks over and says, you will never guess what's happening upstairs. Your talent was on the floor. Your paying attendees were on the floor. And the disrespect doesn't stop there. First of all, we had a lovely tattoo artist who was at the event giving flash tattoos. And I interacted with her for a total of 10 seconds because my friend was getting tattooed and I was just, admiring the work. But she seemed really professional and very concentrated on what she was doing. Apparently, according to the tattoo artist, the event coordinator was saying very negative things about the tattoo artist during the event to the attendees. And I'm not going to tell the tattoo artist story, that's hers to tell. But if you are in shock and awe that an event coordinator is talking poorly about someone she invited to the event during the event while they're still there, oh honey. So y'all remember back in part 2 when I brought out this map? And I was super excited to be with all of my friends over in this row. And remember back in part 1 when I said that I was only going to report on what I saw with my own eyes and ears, but I was going to bring up an allegedly one time. And for those of you who are patient, this is it. So allegedly, my friends and I were all put up against the wall because we're the problem children. And we're loud and inappropriate and don't want to be an embarrassment to the event. Now, obviously, I didn't hear this with my own ears, which is why I say that allegedly very hard. But this was said before the event. But according to some other authors, vendors, and attendees, the coordinator was still talking mad nonsense about us during the event, calling us difficult to work with, calling some of us divas. And so allegedly, the event coordinator and I had beef.
Again, you don't fuck with the people on BookTok.
Which is odd because, honestly, I don't even know who she is, so this is a surprise to me. But again, this is all allegedly. And other than just the straight up disrespect, there was also some more unfulfilled promises. Like we had no water, not even a water bottle at our tables. We were promised snacks, there was no snacks. And aside from the allegedly disrespectful reason why I was put at the table I was put at, some people didn't like that the heavily pregnant lady, that's me sitting on the floor, I'm big, was put at a table that was far away from the bathrooms. And that I didn't really care about, because I would just go up the escalator to the cleaner bathrooms that were on the ground floor of the convention center. But needless to say, an extraordinary level of disrespect for the people who paid to be at your event was there. It was apparent to everyone involved. And now you're sitting here thinking, Percy, quit yapping. We want to hear about the ball. And I know y'all know what the ball looked like. What y'all don't know is what happened at the ball. Because I've seen a lot of people talk about the ball, but there's specific information that I witnessed that has not come out yet. And friends, we have another surprise. Twist ending, if you will. As I was filming this video, I got a notification from the event coordinator because she emailed us. And I want to see what's in that email. So I guess we're going to have a part 4.
I just can't get to it fast enough.
Welcome to part 4, everyone. And this is the big finale. I know all of you have seen the ball at this point, but everyone was so shocked about the lack of anything at this ball that no one talked about what actually happened at the ball.
Actually, yeah, let's just take a minute for the ball because definitely Kimmy Bridgerton, at least they had like the Amazon wrinkly backdrop to just like randomly just like kind of like put places in corners and like in the corner of the stairs. There was nothing here. Again, women, look at you babes out there with the ball gowns just eating, looking like snacks out there. While you have no decor. Oh, and I know something about the DJ too. That again. I'll let Percy go.
But as an eyewitness...
No, I can't. Okay, there wasn't one. I think we are. The security guard, I think, ended up going to get his speaker.
You know I'm going to come through with the tea. So like all of you have already seen, this was the Lavender Romance Ball that cost $250 American dollars in this economy.
To stand and mingle around tables in ball gowns. No fancy lights, no decor, no balloons, no Where's the lavender? Where's the lavender? Oh, I would sue.
But I can't say there was no decorations.
Oh.
And y'all know I'm not about to get on this internet and tell lies. So here's the decor for the ball.
Stop it. Stop it right now. Stop it right now. For what? Is that like a manual of the day? Stop it right now. Are you guys seeing this? The table with the sprinkled petals? And it's what, like 8 petals? No, you guys, no. There should have just been none. Again, this is where I'm dead. Hi, Sherrilyn? No, she's gone. Sorry. What the? I never thought the Bridgerton ball and the Willy Wonka experience would have been masterpieces, extravaganzas, if you will, compared to this. $250?
These rose petals weren't even silk. They were styrofoam of the highest quality, and these books were placed around on the table as decorations and as party favors. Allegedly, these were the books that were purchased through the bookstore partner that were supposed to be in the swag bags. You know, the books from the bookstore partner that backed out at the last minute. Allegedly, these are the books, but I can't confirm. And despite the fact that the event started at 7 p.m., of course, it didn't even start on time. The doors were still locked until about like 7:15-ish. There was no food. There was a small table with just desserts. And as a pregnant lady who ate cheesecake for dinner that evening, I went in the mood for desserts. So I was thinking if there were like crackers, you know, a box of Cheez-Its for us to fight over like raccoons, something. No, there was nothing else there. But there was a bar, a cash bar. You paid $250 for a ticket to access a cash bar for a $10 tiny little cup of wine. But you know, that didn't bother me personally. I'm pregnant, I don't drink. So I'm trying to see if I can get like a water or a Sprite or something. Yeah, if you want to get like a tiny cup of Sprite, it was going to be $5. Bottle of water, $5. And keep in mind, earlier in part 3, I told y'all that we didn't even get water bottles as authors as part of the event. Oh no, the bottles were provided, we just had to pay another $5 freaking for them. But just like every good story, the heroes always come through in the end. The first hero of our finale is Speaker Steve! Here he is, everyone, the infamous Bluetooth speaker that provided all of our music for the ball. But don't give credit to the creator for Speaker Steve. This lovely security guard right here took pity on us and brought Speaker Steve from his home just so we could have some music at this ball.
No.
So yes, friends, that means the plan
is we need a GoFundMe. This man needs a GoFundMe, and he needs a ball thrown in his honor for saving this night. I'm obsessed. He went home. I don't know if she's like clarifies that or if maybe it got embellished online, but like my understanding was like he was literally like, yo, I gotta leave my post to like his friend and like ran home and got Speaker Steve.
For this ball, so as for us to stand in this giant empty room with no food, a cash bar, stand there in silence. And a lot of you have been tagging me in the apology video from the creator where she says that she's going to issue refunds for those who request it. But I have tea on the creation of this video that apparently is not well known yet. So this video was filmed at the ball itself, about 30 minutes in. I know what you're thinking, it's an apology video, she's issuing refunds, what's the issue? She did not do this video out of the goodness of her heart. Our second hero of this finale is someone that you already heard about in part 1. My friend and fellow author Callista Neath had to go up to her during the ball and confront her about what an absolute mess this was. She rocked up to her in the middle of the ball and went, "Hey yo, you're gonna issue refunds right now." And she demanded that the creator here make this video, post it on socials, and tag her in it. Go to this video, you will see Callista Neath in the caption tagged. Because if she hadn't had said anything, this video would have never happened.
Wow.
But put a pin in that, we will come back to this later. In part 3, I told you that I was emailed by the creator, and now I'm gonna show you what the email actually was. I can only assume that after everyone complained about her non-apology, she sent us this email last night. I'm gonna be up here in the corner so y'all can pause to read. Now, I am not—
No, I wanted you to read. I just love your narration. Okay, so it says, "Dear authors and vendors, I wholeheartedly apologize the failures of this weekend. Grace, this is a book event. This event was unacceptable, and I will do everything in my power to make it up to all of you. I do want to go over a few things before I go over how the refunds will work. 1, I do not make any money off of this event. I did not, sorry. That was my bad. I put thousands of dollars into this event. The author fees and ticket sales went directly to bills for the event. The author fee of $100 included the $40 charge of your table and the $15 charge per chair, and everything on top of that were straight into convention center costs. Number 2, there were 603 tickets sold for this event, with the attendance of 140. I do apologize for this because the ticket sales was there, but the attendance was clearly not. Refund details of feature authors will receive the attendance fee that was promised, compensation for travel, and to cover the hotel issues." Oh, right, because there was like I forgot about the hotel issues.
Now, I am not an event coordinator. I'm just the talent who shows up. Other people who know events can call cap on all of that, and I'll save that for them. Allegedly, these refunds will be processed by May 31st, but I'll believe it when I see it. And this also doesn't mention the $250 that myself and the other sponsors paid for nothing. Did you think we were just gonna forget? And if you have watched all 4 parts and stayed with me through this entire saga, here's what I need y'all to understand. This event was marketed to and advertised to new debut authors as their way to connect with readers for the first time. And as someone who debuted 2 years ago, I know exactly how tight finances are at that time. When you are an indie author, you pay for everything yourself up front. And only if you do events like this can you finally recoup the costs. And since the creator is a debut indie author herself, oh yeah, she's a fellow author. She's going to have her book allegedly publishing on June 7th. She should know how much of a financial burden indie author publishing is. And I can sit here on the internet and I can joke about my experience and about the terrible ball and about not having water, but I'm an established author. I've been doing this for over 2 years. I've done events before. I know how it's supposed to go. I'm not going to be affected by this. But I had to watch these dejected and heartbroken first-time authors pack up boxes upon boxes of books that didn't sell, that they don't know how they're going to get home. Some people flew in from out of state. Some people flew in from out of the country because they were told, your readers are here. And this is a good investment. At the end of the second day of signing, I abandoned my table and went around talking to all these new authors. And I had to tell them that this kind of event is not normal and what happened was not their fault. Because people are thousands of dollars in debt because of the lies and the mismanagement and the false promises. This wasn't just a bad event. This is a financial disaster. This ruined careers at the very beginning of them. And a lot of those first timers were too afraid to say something. They were too afraid that they were going to get canceled or blackballed if they stood up for themselves.
That's
so that's why I am here telling the world everything that happened.
Go, Percy.
That is why
Percy.
are telling everybody what happened. Because it was very clear to us from the outset that if we didn't say something, no one would. And this would continue and other people would have been swindled. So to the creator, if you have the courage to actually watch all of my videos, I have one thing to say to you. It's one thing to do an event and bite off more than you can chew, but you need to accept that you hurt hundreds of people, and merely offering refunds is not enough. These authors and vendors and talent that you use for your own purposes not only need to be compensated, they need to be fully restored for their hotel rooms and the childcare and the travel fees and their meals and everything they spent out of their own pockets for you. Anything less than that is unacceptable.
Again, if I was Grace, like, I'm dead. I didn't receive this because I'm dead. Percy, can you just be like my advocate?
But like I said, this is the end of a story, and every good story has its heroes winning in the end. Despite seeing the red flags, I came to this event for the people. For these people right here, and for everyone else who was there.
She has them all tagged. Okay, I'm gonna have this video tagged in my description. Please, someone, for the love of everything, remind me if I forget. Because on this video, then you can go to everybody else who just thought that they were gonna have a really good experience. I do know we're gonna hear from some other ones and their experience, but I love that she tagged them.
The bookish community has the most talented, kind-hearted, funny, wonderful people to be around. We help each other. We uplift each other. We were still dancing in an empty room at that ball, guys. We were door dashing food for each other and giving each other tablecloths. And if you have not been in this community, I would invite you, welcome in. The vast majority of these fantasy bookish events are incredible. And if you're an author, not only do you make friends and network, you can also profit and meet readers. And if you're a reader, you get to meet the best of friends and discover new stories. And if you've gotten this far and wondering, how can I help all these people who are affected? Check out their books. Indie authors are so talented and have these incredibly unique stories that might be your next favorite. The vendors have very unique products that you don't even know you needed until you walked by the table. So if you want to be another hero of this saga, pick up a book from an
Okay, why is she so adorable? Okay, like I said, I'm gonna have that tagged. Okay, I really want to hear from Callista Neath. So we've got a couple of videos here from Callista. She's the one who, like Percy said, had she not gone up and demanded that TikTok be made, and I haven't watched that TikTok yet, the apology one, we'll watch it together. We got to get through this one first, though.
Okay, I made it home, and I've slept. Let's storytime a million lives. The nightmare this event was, from start to finish, nightmare feel. So I'm sure this has gone over, like you've heard many stories. I'm going to go over, like, just start to finish what I went through, and it'll be broken parts because it's too much. So this began 18 months ago. I was emailed and asked to be a featured author for A Million Lives. And I thought, great, this will be wonderful. I thanked her for the opportunity.
That's, like, again, insane. Remember, I was just like, hey, if you're going to do something like this is like years. Like this is going to take over a year to plan, especially if it's like the first one. I feel like, after that, of course, like as soon as it's like wrapped up, you're already preparing for the next one. But like for the first one, you are not doing that. Like you are not tossing that together in a year to the scale that you're advertising, like this big grand ball and reaching out and having like authors and like vendors and like tattoo. What in the shit balls? Okay, sorry. So that's actually wild that 18 months ago she was invited.
I accepted the invitation. We were supposed to be put up in a Hilton. That was where rooms are. It's connected to the what it's called, convention center. We're all supposed to be in there, all the featured authors. So again, this is 18 months ago and a lot happens in 18 months. When I initially started doing conventions, I drove to them. Bitch drove. I am not trying to get, like, I'm not saying it without getting banned. So I bring my dogs with me. I'm not trying to get forced proximity into another country. Does that make sense? So I bring my dogs with me. I have 2 German Shepherds that come with me. So I tell Grace off the bat, yo, I don't know what the hell to go let dogs in. I'm going to need an Airbnb. I tell her this 18 months ago. And she's like, oh yeah, no issue. So this is a year later. I messaged her because I'm like, hey, I don't need to, like, spend more of your money. So I have a dog sitter now because I now fly to my events. And I don't drive there anymore because your bitch has a corporate job because she's sickly. So I use my PTO to go to these events because driving and wasting 3 days to go and come back, it's like a whole other event I could have gone to. So now I fly. And I tell her, hey, I have a dog sitter. You don't have to get me an Airbnb anymore. I can stay in the hotel. It's good. This is back in December. In February, I confirm, the hotel's good, right? Because I'm about to buy a plane ticket. So we do that. This is the email we get. Do you see 4 days ago up there? 4 days ago. Right now, it's almost midnight of May 4th. So, like, we go from the Hilton to the Days Inn. And I'm going to be rooming with my bestie Percy, who's pregnant with twins. We're not in the same building anymore of the convention center. So I'm like, what in the So I Google it before we get there. It's across the street. I'm like, this isn't too bad. I can work with that. I'm just gonna carry all the bags because I'm not letting Percy, the Beast with Three Hearts, carry everything. So by chance, I see Michaela in the lobby, another BIPOC featured author. We're gonna talk about the BIPOC panel in a second. So by chance, I see Michaela and I'm like, hey girl, and we're talking and we're catching up. And we're like, what is this hotel? And there's a Discord that she's in that I had no idea about, that I was not privy to. No idea there's a Discord. So she invites me to it. And I want to mention the Days and staff were very kind, especially Santiago, because when I first got there, because I always like catch the red eye because I'm afraid of not being ready and not having all the things set. And then I was going to room with Percy, who's pregnant with twins again. And I wanted to make sure like she wasn't just sitting there stranded. So I got there first. I caught the red eye. I was there before 11 a.m. I was like there at 10:30. And I'm like, hey, I know I go to check in. Santiago's there. And I'm like, hey, I know I'm super early. I want to make sure that the reservation's good. Can I like pay for the early bird check-in? Because I don't want to like make my event coordinator pay for that one. My ass is early. So we go to check in. I pay for my separate early check-in. And her credit card doesn't go through. So I email her. I call her on Instagram. She tells me her identity was stolen, so they froze all of her accounts. 4 days ago, you switched us to this hotel, and there was nothing of this. And your girl's a sickly bitch, so I still have corporate. You know what my corporate is? I was a credit analyst, and I'm a compliance officer. When your credit gets stolen, they freeze your credit bureaus. You still have access to your money. You can still live your life. So the front desk guy, Santiago, sweetest human. He lets me go in my room and everything. He's like, the card won't go through. And I'm like, dude, if you need me to pay for it, I'm paying for it because I need a room. I haven't slept yet. I don't care. I'm not giving up that room. You want me to pay for it? And he's like, no, it's okay. We'll get it straightened out with her. I'm like, okay. I called her. I messaged her. She's getting straightened out with her bank. She's going to call you back. 2 hours later, I go back downstairs because I DoorDash stuff. She has not called the front desk. I talk to Santiago again. And I'm like, hey, did she call you? No call. I'm like, wow, that's sketchy. You're not gonna get this all set up. So I tell Santiago that you might want to call her because there's a bunch of other authors gonna be coming here that's gonna have the same issue, and it's not just gonna be me. There's gonna be a bunch of us here, and we're all not gonna have the hotel deal. So call her. He says I don't want to be unprofessional and bother her. And I'm like, look, she is the one that set this up and is the one being not professional, and her credit card's not going through, and you have other human beings coming here. Fast forward through that event because it's going to be a different yappity yap that we're going to do. So fast forward through the event, on the second day of the signing, she comes up to me like, just, hey, I know this is going to be really unprofessional. My accounts are frozen, and can you pay for your hotel? The red flags I had coming out here. So I kind of side eye her, and I'm like, and we're getting paid back for this, and we were paid to be here. So like our feature fee, like our appearance fee, and the hotel, and you're gonna pay that back to us immediately, right? And she's like, yeah. I'm skeptical, but I'm still willing to play along at this point. Okay, that's fine. Spoiler alert, I left it under her, and they can chase her for the money because I'm already out the money that she paid us, and I'm not gonna put myself also in debt under hotel room for an event that she just absolutely did not. This is such false advertisement. I am so heated for the poor readers that came here, especially the readers who came to see me. I'm like, what in the Okay, and then we're going to part 2 about other things that happened.
Okay, part two, because we kind of already knew all of that.
So I'm going to go over my experience on day 1 of signing. So let's set the stage. We're at the day's end. I'm there with my BFF Percy, pregnant with twins. We're told we can set up at 7, which is great. I'm like, I'm always early there for setup. So my pregnant friend, the Beast with 3 Hearts, Percy, I tell her to stay in the hotel room. I'm going to go there first. I'm going to figure out where her stuff is so that she's not wandering around while we're trying to figure out where we got to go for check. So I grab my 2 heavy-ass rolling suitcases, and I go out there. I cross the street. I go to where we were specified to go. Like, this is where we're going to do entrance. This is what was put in the Discord, the magical Discord I just got the day before, by Grace herself. I go to the entrance on Sharp Street. It is locked. There is nothing there. I message Grace, hey, there's nothing here, and this is locked, and I am outside. She's not even at the event center, and this is after 7, we're just starting up. She's driving somewhere, and she's like, oh, this is where the attendees will be coming in, not for you guys. And she proceeds to give me copy paste, because she's driving, the loading dock of how to get in there. Every other event I've gone to has had very clear instructions and maps on how to get to the loading dock and how to do all of that. And this portion isn't her fault, because Google Maps led me to walk around in circles. I literally walked blocks around that area. I was there at 7. I didn't actually get into the setup until 8 o'clock because Google Maps led me in circles. I probably walked 10 blocks with 2 heavy ass suitcases, sweating my face off. So not her fault, but a great omen for the day. So circle back 45 minutes later,
great omen.
back to the same spot I was at to begin with, Sharp Street. The security guards are now there and it's now open. They can't let me in yet because there's only one security guard there and we can't go to the stuff. And walking to the dock is going to take the 15 minutes it's going to take for the place to be open at 8 anyway. So the security guard was kind enough to let me leave the bags there. And I went back to the hotel to get Percy J. We got the other bags. We came back down and then we were able to just like walk into the space and then get to the actual setup. So setup, yeah. So the original map was kicked out the window. I was on the same spot because we were put on the edge as allegedly problem children. So because we're loud and disruptive and inappropriate and we need to be hidden on the side, not be an embarrassment. But I was a featured author. She literally, I did not apply to this event. She invited me. And this is all alleged because I did not hear it with my own ear holes. Obviously because things would have happened if I did. So allegedly, I'm a diva. I have to bring my dogs with me, and that's why we're at the Days Inn, because she had to find a place that has dogs, allegedly. So I walk into the BIPOC panel. It's a very small room. It's like, I'm like, okay, intimate. I get that. So originally it was listed out as a 1 p.m., right? So I'm there at 1 o'clock after lunch. No one is there. And I'm like, okay. I go check the email again, like maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I looked at this wrong. Now it says 1:30. So it's just changing on the fly. I'm like, all right, it's super slow. I'm just going to hang out here and chit-chat with the couple of other attendees that are there. And I say couple because there were 2. So there was another panel that didn't have chairs. So at least we had chairs. So I guess I should be happy. So we have chairs. There's no table. So there's just like a row of chairs facing the audience. And then there's 2 or 3 rows of chairs that are the audience facing us. No mic, but whatever. I'm loud. It's a small room. I'm like, all right, this is fine. I am expecting another BIPOC author to come in and moderate this, right? Tell me why this man that is this color is moderating the BIPOC panel and asking us the same question 17 different ways, over and over and over. And this was on the VIP day, so not everyone could attend. Only the VIPs could attend the BIPOC panel. But it was fine because he has a degree in journalism. He moderated from the back against the doors, looking at his phone, not engaging with the crowd, train wreck. Typically,
She's like,
at these
I mean,
events, you
when I
also
say
get,
crowd,
like,
I mean 3
water. There are
attendees.
water stations for yourself and the readers. There are like little snacks like granola or something. There's typically some type of snack and water being the key point here. None of that was here. And I will put up day 2 on the ball next.
Spoiler, we know how the ball went. DJ Steve and the styrofoam pedals. I can't. Okay, I want to listen to this one person who was also there, and then we'll get to Grace, because I think she physically was affected from what I'm understanding here. So this is Magical Molly. Oh my God, I love it. I want to be a part of BookTok.
So I, like many authors, went to A Million Lives Books Festival this weekend. I was one of the vendors, or one of the authors. I'm tired. I can't think straight.
Okay, oh my God, I'm just coming to me right now. Kaya, one of our amazing editors, she's part of BookTok. Kaya, you need to comment right now on the screen. Was your jaw on the floor when you saw the clip of the ball with the pedals? What would you have done? Please give text on this. Great. Oh my God, that just came to me. You guys go follow Kaya.
But yeah, I don't usually talk about when events aren't what they're advertised to be online, because I don't feel comfortable doing it. But a lot of people are posting about this one, and I've had a lot of people message me and ask you were there, how'd it go, what happened, are you okay? I wasn't lied to directly as much as other authors were lied to. I was mostly just kept in the dark. But the main thing that I would like to add to this discussion, because plenty of other authors have addressed the lies about ticket sales, about accommodations with water, tablecloths, badges, signage. The ball was obviously bullshit, if you've seen the videos that are trending. My main thing is, so I'm disabled. As many people who follow me online know, I'm physically disabled. I have severe chronic pain, and I can present like I'm not in pain and carry myself physically walking around to a degree without a mobility aid like I'm not in pain, but it's all fake. I was having an immense pain flare up this past weekend at the event due to not getting a lot of sleep and the commute to the festival and the concrete floors. But all that being said, when I work events that have a PA fee, I ask if they can either waive the fee or offer me a discount, because part of under ADA, the disability accommodation I need is having someone with me to help me get there and be there, like in case I like fall down and faint or collapse or have spasms and need help, that then other people, like I'm not going to expect a random author to know what to do to help me if my spine gives out. And every other event I've ever worked that had a PA fee either waived it or gave me a discount because they were like, we completely understand you're disabled. That's what.
Just want to interject here from my experience of this as well. So like if it's like a personal assistant, usually even the events that I have been to, both events like CrimeCon UK and CrimeCon were so accommodating and amazing that I think there was like even like 2 that we didn't have to, like you didn't have to pay for a personal assistant. And it's not to be like, I have an assistant. Like she's saying, like just like help with things. Like it takes a lot. And thank God I just have like just amazing people in my life, Kelsey, you specifically, who like came to these events with me out of her own pocket to help me. And like the least that like could happen was be like the room you're not paying for or attending the event. And for the event, that was covered by whoever was putting, like in my case, it was CrimeCon. So I can't even, again, it's hard to compare because I obviously haven't been to like a book con or like a ball of like a convention like this. I guess it could be normal to like pay for things, but I feel like when you're like bringing somebody like an author who's bringing their following, I don't know. Anyways, I'm a little bit upset right now, even for like the fact that she's going to say that she wants the fee waived and they're going to say no. And now I'm mad.
That's what matters. I mean, I have had events that are still not ADA accessible like they should be because it's the law and the decent thing to do, even if it weren't the law. But regardless, when I said this to her, 'cause she invited me personally, I never heard of it.
See, this is what, if you're being invited somewhere, you probably shouldn't be asking those people to pay. Like you know what I mean? It doesn't make sense.
She reached out to me around Christmas, asked if I'd be in it. I said, sure. I'm Maryland based, so it wasn't that far to get there. I mean, I still had to like stay overnight and everything, but it wasn't that far. But she was very combative about the PA fee being discounted or waived, claimed that she needed to fund the ball. So now that I know that's where the PA fees.
The audacity. No, she did not. No, she did not say that she could not discount or waive that fee.
Supposedly went. Ridiculous.
For the styrofoam pedals.
I was just also being like, well, I want to make sure it's just an ADA accessible event, which then it wasn't. There were rooms for panels that didn't have chairs. There wasn't water. There wasn't just easy, clear directions where to get places mobility-wise. It was a mess. And then I learned from other authors today, waking up the day after the festival in a chronic pain flare from working it, which I did expect to happen. I learned that she complained about me to other authors and said that and attendees and people that I was terrible and demanding, and she wished she hadn't invited me because I wanted to make sure we were ADA accessible.
We haven't even heard from her yet, so I'm gonna rage, but I just want to talk, Grace. I just want to talk.
So yeah, fuck all of that. That's disgusting. I was lucky enough that I did okay getting there and did okay sales wise. And I really enjoyed meeting everybody. I know other authors are out hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. If I didn't have the support of my family, I would definitely be out more money. I mean, I'm out the table and PA fee, which is absurd, especially considering that she bitched about me. God forbid I be disabled and need help. And it just makes me wonder how other authors were treated.
You guys, I'm gonna throw my laptop.
The lies, the lack of transparency, the overpriced tickets for attendees. Yeah, I mean, I doubt this event will even happen again next year. I know I presented on my Instagram, it was very oh, I had so much fun, because I just want to be professional, positive, and give people the benefit of the doubt.
Yes.
I posted more detailed on my Instagram at Magical Molly, but yeah, I just wanted to hop on and say my quick piece that people calling it the Fyre Festival of Book Festivals, that's pretty on the nose. I will be at Monster Erotica Book Con next weekend. I'm very excited for that. That's going to be great. And, you live and you learn not to trust Archer fantasy events.
Yeah. You tell him, Molly. Okay, well, I hope that everybody's... that would have already been gone. Oh, I haven't heard anything, so obviously, it went off without a hitch. I'm hoping. And, I mean, the bar The bar is in hell right now. So I'm pretty sure anything above sprinkled petals. Stop it right now. Stop it. Okay, so in Molly's comments, I need them to pay. Molly says, not a PR stunt, but let's get us authors PR out of it anyways. Okay, yeah. Great spin on it. Like you are getting the getting noticed, I guess, right? Which, yes, queen. That wasn't like, you're getting noticed. As a girly with RA and lupus, this sounds like an absolute nightmare. I wouldn't be able to walk or even think. Just the stress would have sent me into a flare-up horribly. Molly says, I collapsed at the end of day 1 on the way to the car, and my mom had to help me, and I was limping by the end of day 2, currently in a pain flare. Wow. Fucking wow. The pain in my knee from the concrete is still going. So that is obviously like another author that was there. I feel you. My body hasn't hurt this bad in ages. Wow. Again, because like, where were the chairs? Well, I think there were chairs at tables, but like for the panels and stuff. Okay. Let's talk about Grace. Grace Willows and Archer Management. All right, so Grace is a 23-year-old mom and soon-to-be self-published romancy author who founded Archer Management. Archer, in brackets, also fantasy events. And then from her pinned Instagram post, she is an author based in Maryland, specializing in fantasy books that transport readers to magical realms with a passion for storytelling and a dedication to excellence. Grace, the audacity to say dedication to excellence. Grace Willows brings imagination to life on every page. She's 23 years old. Frick, she's young, man. See, again, like, baby girl, what? Oh my God. What were we thinking about taking on an event like this? She brings imagine to life on every page, just not every ball. When Grace is not writing, she's planning bookish events for Archer Fantasy. Stop it. Okay, well, I will give it. Let's be real. It was literally non-existent. She messaged people 4 days before saying that there was an issue with the hotel booking. You had 18 months. You just invited people, made some freaking decorations on Canva for your advertisement, and then that was it? Stop. All right, so like I said, she's behind Archer Management. Archer Management's first Instagram post was on August 1st, 2023, and based on a TikTok post posted by Grace in September 16th, it appears to align with like the company's start date as well. So we're thinking September, August of 2023. Now, Susie did say that she tried to find like Archer Management or Archer Fantasy events through like the Maryland business search. So when she was looking, she wasn't able to find anything out. That being said, it could be under like somebody else's name, perhaps. Anyways, so we're going to see Grace's introduction to Archer Fantasy events, okay? This was how this was introduced to the world.
Hi, my name is Grace, and I started Archer Management just a little over a month ago to help bring bookish events to Maryland and the surrounding areas. I'm a 23-year-old Capricorn, and I am a stay-at-home mom to a sweet little boy. I absolutely love reading. I read a little bit of everything from fantasy, dark fantasy, romance, dark romance, mysteries, and there's not much I won't read. I am a firm believer of reading what you love and DNFing it if you don't like it. I love indie authors and supporting small businesses, and that is actually something that is really big to Archer Management, is that we will always do different things to help support our small businesses and indie authors because they're absolutely amazing. I actually have a big event coming soon with announcements. If you guys know, we have a night in Terracin, which is in it almost a year away, which I am super excited for. But coming October 1st, I'm going to be doing an announcement about a really big event coming in 2025. Follow along if you want some updates, and I'm super excited to share all of the news with you guys.
Okay, so we're going to get to the night in Terracin. We will get to that. But the one that she's saying really big event in 2025, she's talking about this one that just passed. Okay, so according to her bio, she says, "Hi, I'm Grace. I run Archer Management, Archer Fantasy Events. Here's a short version of why I started this company. In March of 2022, my husband and I received a phone call to see if we could adopt a little boy who was just born and no one on the local adoption list could take. We were not on the adoption list at all. Someone just knew we were open to it. Within 48 hours of that call, I quit my job and started driving to to Georgia to take custody of the baby while my husband worked on the legal process at home. 2 months later, I was able to bring our little guy home, and on September 28th, 2022, the adoption was finalized. As we were going through the process, I started looking into some hobbies, and I came across BookTok. Through BookTok and now Bookstagram, I have fallen in love with reading all over again. This community has become a home in so many ways. Girl, I will agree with that. I have learned to love books again. I need to get like more on BookTok. Like now that I see like Kaya's and stuff like that and I interact with it, I am starting to see more people talk about like books and stuff and opening my eyes to authors. But even like having like our own like Sippin book club just motivates me, and it's like I've like found my love of reading again. So I get it. It wasn't long after finding BookTok that I found out about bookish events. I started my search into events, but quickly realized that I was going to have to travel, and most of the events were way more than I could afford in a single income household. And while I love to travel, as a stay-at-home mom with a husband who is a dispatcher, it can make traveling difficult. So I started looking into bringing bookish events to Maryland, and after doing a lot of research, I started prep for my first event, a night in Theresin. Dunno. I love this community, and my goal continuing forward is to have bookish events in Maryland that are more affordable, from book festivals to bookish balls. While a night in Theresin has come and gone, in 2025 we have a Million Lives Book Festival and the Elegant Nocturnal Social. Ooh, I don't think that one has gone. I don't think it will. I'm so thankful to have my son in my life and so thankful for the community that helped me find it. Oh, okay, so the Elegant Nocturnal one, they're advertising on, oh, the comments are turned off. Yep, that checks. So it says the Elegant Nocturnal Social, October 18th, 2020. Is that 25 or 26? It's an odd font. Come join us for a night of sophistication and fun in the beautiful city of Baltimore. Get ready to dance, enjoy, oh my God, a fest fit for any vampire or witch, and enjoy the company of fellow book lovers. Tickets available on Eventbrite. It's like, oh my gosh, like I'm just thinking of was DJ Steve? Oh my God, maybe it would be easier just to put the 1 day ball. Maybe that's why the other, we got to figure out about what was going on with the other one. What was the Theresin one? How was that advertised? Okay, so I'm going through, and then that happened in 2024. So on September 20th, 2024 was the night in Theresin. It was at the George Peabody Library in Baltimore. And that's what people are saying, like that went okay. So I think it was like maybe like a little ball or like it was a fantasy ball is how it's being advertised. And people said that it was good. I understand that, but it's like, that was like one night. So you're technically just like having people come in, like part of the community, buy their tickets for a ball, they dress up. I mean, if you did just decor and had the DJ there and some lighting, you're just like in a library that you've already got your beautiful background going. I think I actually heard somebody talk about that too, like that it was good, but a lot of it was because like it was already in a library, right? But that it turned out, and I get it, like for a first event, get your feet wet. Utilize like something like that, like a space like that, to go to a convention center for 2 days as your next event. And you're like reaching out and inviting authors who already have like a fan base. Like, baby, you got to nail this. And the 18th. Goodness. Okay, so from what we're understanding, there were 120 authors, narrators, and vendors who attended. There were 7 featured guests who were promised that their hotel rooms were going to be comped, as well as their table fee. So we obviously found out that was not the case. The vendor table fee was a non-refundable fee of $150. Again, nuts. Here's where I will understand this is when you do have the indie authors who like nobody's knowing about, and you're wanting to have an opportunity for that exposure. So that does make sense. Anyways, I don't know why I'm all caught up on the table fee. I get it. I do get it though. I guess if I'm looking at it from a standpoint of if you're not established enough yet, like not just like as an author, but like even the person putting on the event, like get some funding, like some extra resources kind of like piled in after a couple events, and then you'd be able to like kind of waive things like that. I do understand for that. And then I know a lot of people would want to pay like the $150 just to get like the exposure. Okay, then they said there was 113 paying vendors since the 7. Okay, we're doing math here. I see what we're doing. Susie. Numbers stressed me out. All right, so we're saying, so if the vendor fee was non-refundable of $150 and there was 113 paying vendors, because now we're taking away the 7 that were supposedly having their table fee waived, that is $16,950. So then there were sponsorships, all right? I did forget about that. Percy mentioned that in the first series that we looked at. So there was the book lover for free, and that's where you got like the donated items for VIP, art prints. Bookworm for 100. That's for the people got their logo on. So then you're still having people pay for this. So we don't even know. Like right now we know that Percy did hers. How many other people end up paying for sponsorships and that have just been like, yeah, remember when that didn't happen? All right, then you have your tickets for the public. So Page Turner was $50. The Cloud Walker was $150. The Dream Maker was $250. According to Grace, after being called out about promised ticket sales, there was 603 tickets sold for the event with an attendance of 140. So this comes after she repeatedly told authors, the narrators, and vendors that she expected, because she had expected 1,200 in sales, and then went to them and said, I actually only sold like 500, 400, or 600. Then this kind of seems to be like the common number. So let's just go with 603, okay? How are we expected to believe that 463 individuals who purchased ticket at a minimum of $50 just didn't show up? First of all, that doesn't even matter because the ticket would have already been prepaid for anyways. Right? She reportedly has showed screenshots from Eventbrite to the authors and some of like the narrators and vendors that proof that there was 603 tickets sold. However, it's speculated that she may have gifted tickets to the event as the host to inflate the sold number. That also makes sense. But that does not do you very good here because now people are like, okay, but we're going to go based off of that 603 in sales. So let's just assume all of these sales were the Page Turner, okay? We know that there was more, but let's just say that's $30,150. If you do take that like median price of $150, you get $90,000. That is so insane. That's nuts. Like, just there alone, and then like with the vendor fee from what people paid, like you are in like at least like lowish 6 figures between vendor fees, sponsors, and then ticket sales. Obviously, I get like event space would be expensive to rent. Okay, so Susie did some investigating here though, and according to like just going off Google, while a precise all-day inclusive daily cost is difficult to determine without specific needs or without like saying, like this is exactly what we need. Well, just based on what we saw, bare minimum, okay? The general price range for the event rental is between $6,000 and just under $12,000 for 12 hours of event time. So I wonder if that's like 12 hours collectively or like for one day. Because that would make sense if you were doing like the 2 days. Even if it isn't, like you're in what, like $23,000? Girl. And right now we don't even know if people's hotels even didn't get like, this is nuts. I can't, again, like I would be dead. Like, just like pretend right here, done. What? I would have gone broke. You think in this situation, you're like, okay, let's just like make the best, I guess, of what like we can here. If people are coming through, let's hope maybe they'll buy a book and I'll get a fan and like get my name out there. That happens a lot. I had a lot of people like come by my booth and be like, who are you? And I'd be like, who are you? Do you guys watch that on Drop Dead Gorgeous? No? Okay. And then I got to like chat with people and meet them, and it was really fun and meet other creators. Like the networking is also like was really great too. But yeah, like if you're trying to like look at it like to just like recoup and there's like bare minimum and you're so embarrassed that you're almost like, you know what? If you were gonna come here to see me, don't. Maybe that happened. Maybe people were just like, you know what? I can't. This is too embarrassing to be even associated with. I don't know. But like we heard Percy say, like a lot of people didn't even like recoup the $150 that it cost like for the table by like not even like selling. Of course, like you could have like met people, networked. That in the long term can make it worth it. But then there was another issue that people were saying about a lot of their like not suitable for work art. Like we said, I want to put a picture of the little crochet peens if we could. If we can. Anyway, they're adorable. They're exactly what you would imagine. They're little crocheted, different colored penises with little smiley faces. And I want all of them. So you're told you can bring all of that stuff, but then children are invited to the event. And then you're like, you can't put that out there. I would be so upset. Okay. Oh my God. Susie is such a queen here. All right. She spoke with somebody, an attendee who wishes to remain anonymous, and that's fine. This is her quote to Susie. She said, Grace is actually someone that I know personally. She's from my area, and I'd had a couple of experiences with her in the weeks prior to the AML event. She seemed like she had everything going in the right direction. We attended a book event at a local bookstore a couple of weeks prior. I was super excited to meet her ahead of time, as I had a couple of questions about what the attire was going to be for the lavender ball. Oh, the lavender ball. So I got some clarification there. My best friend was one of the authors in attendance, so I was really glad to be going and supporting her. And I'm still really furious that she didn't even clear her entire table fee. I paid full price at $250 for 2 VIP tickets in the weeks before the event. So with tax, that was just under $600 right there. We already know that people were paying the $200. It wasn't like everybody was like at the 50, like the minimum, right? Oh my God. I have not received a refund, and I'm not sure I will. I have at times mobility issues, and the Hilton is about a 1.5 mile walk through the Skyways to the event, so a round trip is probably 3 miles every day. Add in walking at the event and walking in the ball, it really took a toll on me. And by day 2, I actually had to use my mobility aids, which was practically impossible to navigate carefully when there's not adequate signage for the event. And of course, she wasn't super friendly about having people with mobility issues. We did hear that from another author. There were authors that didn't even sell a single book. I know that I probably spent $1,000 in merchandise, but that still doesn't mean that I reached every table. I'm so devastated for these authors. Oh, bless her heart. She's like, I know that I at least like spent about $1,000 on merchandise, just trying to, hey babes, I'm here. I'm going to make it worth your while. Like, oh my God, not on you. I'm so devastated for these authors. They got the short end of the stick on this. It was a complete failure. There were so many lies told. I bought VIP tickets and received no swag bag. I paid $250 to spend time with my best friend. And while I love my best friend, I can do that for free. Yeah. I think that's the point here. Everybody was like, you charge us even the bare minimum just to walk in empty space, like concrete. Not even tablecloths to clean it up. I saw a picture of this poor author. She had her nice, beautiful banners. You could tell like she would have just like slayed it if she had the table covers covered. And then she got all of her boxes like underneath. It's like, what are we running here? And yes, to people who are like coming through, like there also is this level of expectation of it, like looking, like kind of fancy and like just being like, you in your mind, you think you're going to be like swept away into this like mystical, meeting ground and meeting people that you are like-minded or like authors that you really want to meet. There's like a certain expectation, of just attending, let alone being invited as an author. Okay, so Susie, boots on the ground Susie, just love her so much. Like I said, there was another event, right? The one night in Theresen. I'm probably saying that wrong, I know. That was the vibe, the first vibe, like use the library, book library, get it? Ooh, love it. And it seemed to go well. So I think that was why a lot of people kind of like have the trust of like a first event, because I do know that that is also something that people consider being like, if you're going to something that is like relatively new, your expectations are not like I am going to be walking into like a Comic-Con, level of event, right? Like you are kind of being like, this could be a little bit of a Willy Wonka situation. This is diabolical. I don't know. I did not think that there would ever be something that would make Willy Wonka and the Bridgerton Ball in Detroit that I would have been like envious of, like, I would have wanted to go to that. They actually looked like they slayed now. Slayed. But this was it, right? People are like, okay, well, they already did one. Got their toes wet with like a one night thing. And it was great. The consensus from people that talked to Susie was that it was a wonderful evening, especially for a first time event from a new company. I think that there were a couple issues. So some of the feedback was, yeah, I guess like some people weren't really buying the decor too. Somebody said that generally I had a really good time at the event. It was run smoothly from my perspective. There was good vendors and authors. The major feedback was that the cost of the tickets went to like the cost of the venue maybe. The library, they said, was gorgeous, but not having like any alcoholic drinks included or any kind of take home for the general admission ticket kind of made it feel like a little bit overpriced. Again, yeah, like if you're charging just to like get in there and there's no, usually when you go to an event and you're spending for something, no, well, general admission, no, I wouldn't say that. I feel like general admission is just like getting through the door, having fun, and you're going to buy your drinks. But usually if you're like doing like even like one upgrade, like you're getting at least a bottle of wine on the table or like a drink ticket if it's like the lower tier. Again, kinks that we could have like moved, we could have ironed out by the next event, not go back, not get shot back into the pits of hell. What the hell? Oh, this is interesting. Okay, so another person who went to that event said kind of the same thing. Like in general, like it was really great, especially for being like a first event. But then they were saying, so the invitations, like part of that, like everybody who bought the ticket, it was, you know, kind of giving you that ball experience. They were supposed to receive like a mailed out, like official formal invitation to this ball. And that never happened. So then they were told, you know what, like, sorry, that couldn't happen. Those are going to be like on the place settings though when you get there. So at least you still like have something, which I think is like totally cute. And then when everyone got there, it wasn't there. And then it was communicated that the venue staff had taken it and threw it all out. Kind of like the same excuses that they're getting about the swag bags. And that's interesting because it's like, where is it? Because we know that some of the authors like did provide things. Percy, at the very least, where was her things for the swag bag? Why couldn't anybody at least just get like what Percy had sent? What? Okay, then another person that Susie spoke to said that in their personal experience, the event was, you know, decently well organized. The attendees seemed to have a great time, but again, that there were some issues with Grace and bullying. So this obviously hadn't come out then because many people have said it that we've just listened to, like, you don't want to rock the boat, right? Like, you, in your mind, you're like, you don't know what statue or like status she has within the community if you're somebody like new and just like wanting an opportunity to get your foot in the door and meet people. So you don't want to like immediately be that one to like be the first whistleblower and be like, she was bullying at this first event. So now we know that it wasn't just at that second one talking about people. That is so unprofessional. So unprofessional. Okay, so let's hear from Grace. Let's do it.
Hi everybody. I am wanting to issue a formal apology. I do understand that the ball tonight was not set up to standards. There were a lot of issues with getting set up and it was not set up well. I want to apologize. If you would like a refund, please contact me and I will issue a refund immediately. Thank you.
Oh, no, Grace. Okay, and then, yeah, she did. She did have, was it Callista? Yeah, she had Callista tagged in that. So it's like, oh, yeah, girl. I did it. You can see it right here. You're tagged. That is crazy. Okay, so she did do that there. I wonder if the music in the background that you can kind of hear is from the speaker. That's not funny. But it like, it kind of is because like, what the heck were you doing? Not for like the attendees. That's terrible. I'm so mad for them. I hate when this kind of stuff happens because I think like with my content in general, because it's like so heavy and actually like, you know, like life and death and serious, when I come across these stories, I know that I have like definitely like a more like playful lightheartedness to it. But like Percy said at the beginning, this is like serious. Like people lost their money, a lot of money that they didn't have. Some people who are like banking on it and are now like in debt from going to something like this. And so like that, I would be really pissed off with that apology, if you want to even call it that, from Grace. First of all, it was like done on the fly there. It's like 15 seconds. I don't know why there hasn't been another one. So if I was somebody who was expecting, you know, just something, some kind of excuse, even like just, I mean, try, babe. Give me something. And just be like, I've now had some time to sit with this. I completely dropped the ball, like missed the mark. I took on way more than I could. Like this, first of all, just saying that this was like an issue within the ball. It's the whole thing. The whole thing was a disaster. I would be really, really upset had I gone there. And especially if I was out that money. Again, like you do justify some of those costs of being like, this can be worth it in the long run. Even if nobody buys my book at this, at least I'm like getting exposure. That's part of it, right? Like getting that exposure, getting yourself out there, talking to people, making yourself like, you know, more recognizable. You got to do this kind of stuff, but it's got to be worth it. I don't know what Grace was thinking. I think that it was clear, like pretty early on, that this was not going to turn out the way that, I don't even know if it's like, how can you even say like the way that you thought it would? Because you had styrofoam pedals for the ball and didn't even have a speaker yourself, let alone a DJ. Again, I'm going back to Bridgerton. At least they had the wrinkly ass Amazon backdrops. What the heck? And she doesn't seem to want to like take ownership. It's just kind of like, oh yeah, this was this person's fault. This is this person's fault. Oh, they shouldn't have done this. This is this person's fault. And there's like, and in some cases for these people who like attended, authors, even just like attendees, like there's like thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars that they spent. And I can't. I literally cannot. The only way to kind of make this right is obviously full refund. But even like Percy said, like more that like there needs to be compensation. Like with the travel, there are accommodations. Yes, I guess that there's a risk if you're already like attending that maybe you wouldn't sell anything. But if you are being told about that exposure and you did not sell like a single thing, like you've put money into like that printing, expecting a certain amount, right? Like you're pre-printing, right? It's not like on demand of being like, I guess it could be for some people if you were just like, hey, like order it on Amazon, they're going to print it for you. But if people, like she's saying, like people are like hauling, 80-pound suitcases full of books that they've already like prepared for this a year in advance to sell, and this was going to be like their moment. Like as Percy said, like some of these people, the indie authors, like they're done before they even like really got a head start because they're in debt now. I do know that there is a support for like a list of the authors and the narrators and the vendors that were there. I'm going to have that pinned. I think it's in a form here. Or no, sorry, there is a link to the Indie Author Connect / A Million Lives Recovery. So you guys can go and like check it out and support them, send them love. I also have that one video of Percy's where you can go and follow. And I'm sure like from there, you'll get in like the side quests and see like other people's. From right now, from what I understand, according to Mama BTX, Brandy Reads Books, BRB, she's saying like even though refunds have been promised, it doesn't seem like any have been processed. This was an email that she received from Archer Management. It says, hi, I received your request. At the moment, attending authors will only receive a refund on their table fee. I live paycheck to paycheck and do not have money to pay your extra expenses. I'm in the process of getting a loan to try to pay everyone as much as I can for the extra expenses. Every event comes with risks, and I understand that I made mistakes, but at this time you will only be refunded your table fee as already stated. Again, your attitude, it makes it really hard to like have any form of like sympathy or understanding. It's shit. This is terrible. It does come with risks, but when you're like promising something and have this like expectation, like you cannot say, why do people keep using ball? Like it's just like willy-nilly. Like this is a ball. We're in the era of Bridgerton now, baby. Like that means something. When did the word ball just stop meaning something, especially now, like when we have all of these expectations here? And then you have a shit attitude like this. I feel for her, like of saying like I'm living paycheck to paycheck, I have no money to pay for the extra of your extra expenses. It's like, but whose fault is that? You're telling people that there's at least gonna be like 600 attendees and 80 people show up? What? That's fraud. Like, you're a liar. Enter Judge Judy. Liar. Oh my God. I just can't with these little scamsters anymore. I can't. I think I'm just like so tapped out from like Elizabeth Teckenbrock. I can't. Anyways, yeah. So that's where we're at right now. Little shit attitude, no response, and then this type of email for the vendors that are actually there. So I will have the website, the indieauthorconnect.com / A Million Lives Recovery. So you guys can go check out and send some support. Oh, this sucks. It makes me want to throw a ball for all of these people. How fun would that be? Just to like do like a big ball, a real ball. And like we just invite the Willy Wonka people, the Bridgerton people, and the BookTok people, and everybody come together. And I mean, because I feel like everybody was on the same kind of vibe, right? Like the ball gowns. So even if you like, if you're not really there to like network about like Bridgerton or like books, but I feel like the niches or whatever, like I feel like if you're in like BookTok, like the sky is the limit with who you can get along with. I feel like everybody could get along here. Should we do this? I just want everybody to have a good time. This makes me so frustrated. Oh my God. Anyways, okay, love you guys. That's it for me. Okay, because I'm going to spiral. And I'm going to spend all my money on throwing a ball. Like literally my life savings on just throwing a ball. I think it would be worth it though. Do any of you guys know an event space that could at least just like comp that, and then we just like make it like we just spend everything on like the decor and the meals and the drink? Like, how fun could this be? I think I'm onto something. I think I'm the man for the job. Kelsey's watching right now going, you abso-fucking-lutely aren't, you delusional bitch. You know that I'm going to be the one to do this all. And you know what? You're right. But that's even better for everybody. Everybody bully Kelsey in the comments, okay? Bully Kelsey in the comments and say, we need a ball. We need a ball to make this right, okay? And I'll let you guys know what she says in the next episode. Okay, quick reminder to the riddle. I don't need a wand or a magical spell, but with my quill, I weave tales to tell. I summon dragons and lovers so true. I write the skies and paint them blue. I dance with words, I dream with ink. What am I? Who makes you think? And the answer is an author. So cute. Oh, so cute. Okay, I love you guys. You're so cute. I miss you already. I'll see you in the next episode. I will miss you terribly until then. Make sure to love each other. Love yourself. Except for if Kelsey says no. We do not. No, absolutely not. But bully her like but nicely bully. Like, be like, Kelsey, if you don't do this, like, everybody's gonna be devastated. She has enough on her plate right now, but like, I feel like if anyone could get through to her, it's the Sippin tales, okay? Oh my God, I'm so excited. Okay, love you. I'll see you next episode. Okay, bye.